G'day, welcome back to the channel, and the new kid on the block is the DJI Avata. It's a cinewhoop. We've had cinewhoops for quite some time now, but this is shrink-wrap turnkey, ready-to-fly cinewhoop with all the usual DJI features. Return to home, a great video feed, nicely packaged. It's just, if you're looking for a cinewhoop that you can just take out of the box and fly, once you've activated it, and providing you're not flying in a geofenced area, then the Avata is probably a really good deal. Now, people have said to me, Bruce, are you going to review the Avata? And I did I mentioned it in my weekly news, and I said it looks like a pretty good deal for a lot of people. Not for everybody. No drone is for everybody, but people put pressure on me. You're going to get an Avata, you're going to buy an Avata, you're going to fly an Avata. Now, DJI didn't send me an Avata because they weren't sending these out to the usual FPV/RC influencers. They went to the social media influencers, the people who are better perhaps at influencing than flying drones, because you don't have to be that good at flying drones to get some really sensational footage from this Avata drone. But what I'm going to do today, I'm taking you for a bit of a flight around our airfield. Now, one of the big selling points of the Avata, I mean, it has some differences to other drones. As I mentioned, it's got all the usual DJI features, the return to home and the position hold and all the little sensors and things, all that sort of rubbish on there. But the big thing that seems to make it stand out for a lot of people is the flight times. Now, we're used to, those of us in the hobby that have flown cinewhoops before, and we might have a collection of the things, we're typically used to getting about 5 or 6, maybe 7 minutes of flight time out of a charge on the batteries. And it's enough for most people, but everybody wants longer flight time. So I was quite surprised when I saw that the DJI Avata claims up to 18 minutes of flight time on a single charge, and we all know that up to is being generous. So I looked around and I saw that most people are getting at least 10 minutes, sometimes 11 minutes, maybe more, of flight time with their Avata, and that is a really big selling point if you really want a cinewhoop and you want to have maximum time per charge, maximum fun per charge. That makes the Avata appear to stand out from the rest. Now, other things, it's got, of course, 4K camera, so you get lovely visuals, and the camera is much better than you'll find on the DJI FPV drone. That camera was never very good. I pointed out it was grainy and the colors weren't very accurate. So the Avata has a much better camera, and because you want cinematic footage, because this is a cinematic drone, it's not a racing drone, it's not a freestyle aerobatic drone, it's a drone designed to get smooth, fluid, flowing footage that you can use in your own home videos, or even, a sort of production, a cinematic production. So it needs to give that flowing smoothness. Now, part of that is down to how well the drone flies, and part of it is down to the fact that there is onboard video stabilization software. So there's a single axis gimbal, so it doesn't have a full gimbal like a Mavic or a Mini Pro, but it does have a single axis gimbal, which means that the stabilization software can be quite effective. It doesn't have to stabilize in all axes, just in the roll axis, really, in the yaw to some degree. So that makes it very easy to get footage like this flowing, smooth, graceful footage that is the hallmark of a cinequad, a cinematic drone. And this one is also smaller than the original DJI FPV drone. Now, the first FPV drone that DJI made, and they sent it to every man and his dog, I've got one, was okay, but it had a lot of drawbacks. It was quite fragile. Now, the Avata is quite durable. Lots of people have crashed these things, and they tend to bounce a lot. And even if you do break something, there's a good range of spare parts available. So the cost of ownership is not going to be as high as the FPV drone. Another thing is that this isn't as fast as the FPV drone. I think it's 50 miles an hour or something, maximum full tilt. Most people will not fly that fast because it's not really designed for speed. It's designed for this kind of shot here where we're low to the ground, we're flying smoothly and getting these wonderful scenic vistas through the camera. So because it's lighter and it's slower, it's also a safer drone. Adding to that, of course, is the prop guards, the shrouds around the propellers, which means that if you're flying near people or property and you do accidentally bang into it, it's not going to damage the people or the property, and it's not going to damage the drone either. The propellers won't foul on branches or buildings and so forth and cause the drone to crash. It'll just bounce off, which is absolutely brilliant. Of course, the DJI digital FPV system means you've got plenty of range. You can fly a long way with this drone, providing you're not in the CE mode, which is a low power mode used by some countries in Europe, or basically most countries outside of the USA have this CE mode. But fortunately, there's now a hack, so you can just put a little file on an SD card and you can massively increase the range of this drone. It's not legal in all countries, so you need to check that first. Massively increase the range of the drone to many kilometers. In CE countries, they say you can get 2 kilometers with the 25 milliwatts of power, but that's only true if you're flying high and you've got an unobstructed line of sight. When you are flying low like this, that 25 milliwatts will only give you a few hundred meters at best. Certainly, you couldn't fly the path that I'm flying here with just 25 milliwatts of radio frequency power. So that's the Avata in a nutshell, really. It is, if you're looking for a quad that is simple to fly, it is a take it out of the box and use it experience once you've activated it, and gives really good, impressive video results, then the Avata may be the drone for you. Now, it's not cheap, but none of the really good cine quad options are actually cheap. So you just have to bite the bullet and buy it if that's for you. But there are other options. As I've said, I've pointed out the areas where the Avata is somewhat different. That's its flight times and its ease of use, and to a degree the quality of the video. But and you'll notice, look, how are we now? We're already up to 6 minutes. At this point in a regular cine quad, the cine quads we're used to, you'd have to be thinking about landing. Most of them are pretty limited in the flight time. So the Avata, of course, it could keep on flying for another 6 minutes. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave you with a few more minutes of this flight. But don't go away, because at the end, I'm going to come back with something that you really need to know, and it may surprise you. So here we are, the flight's almost over. We're getting ready to come around and land, but look at that time. Look at the time on your screen on the video player. Look how many minutes this drone has been flying. And when I landed, there was still plenty of juice left in the batteries. I could have flown for another 4 or 5 minutes. In fact, I've flown this drone for 15 minutes on a pack and still had some reserve capacity. I could have flown probably another minute on top of that without too much of an issue. But just to let the cat out of the bag, I have not been flying the Avata. I did not buy an Avata. I will not buy an Avata because I couldn't have flown an Avata here where I've just flown this drone. This is the local airfield. The geofencing on DJI products say you may not fly at this airfield, even though it's the only place in the area I am legally allowed to fly. Someone in China with a little switch says, nope, it's an airfield, you can't fly here. So that's one of the reasons, or probably really the only reason perhaps, that I wouldn't buy this particular quadcopter. The other thing perhaps is that this flight, as you've seen, it's almost 13 minutes of flight time out of a quad, a Cinequad that isn't an Avata. How did that happen? What's going on here? Well, this is the GEP RC Cinelog HD35, a quadcopter I've reviewed previously, and I thought I'm going to try this quad with a different kind of battery. Now, normally we use LiPo batteries, lithium polymer batteries on our quadcopters, but on this quad, I decided to use my lithium ion pack. I've made a lithium ion pack. There's a video on this channel showing how to do that. It's a 3000 milliamp 4-cell battery pack, and it gives me these flight times on this Cinequad. Absolutely amazing. I understand GEP RC have made a more efficient version of this particular Cinequad, or Cine drone, or whatever you want to call it, cinewhoop. But I don't have that. They haven't sent that to me to review. This is the original one, the less efficient one, with less efficient motors, and I'm still getting 15 minutes of flight time if I want it. That is amazing. So the big claim to fame, one of the big claims to fame for the Avata, well, it's not such a big claim to fame if we just use our brains and use the right battery in existing Cinequads or Cinewhoops. So there you go. Anyway, so there you go. I didn't buy the Avata. If I didn't live near an airfield, I probably would. But I chose this instead, or I'm flying this instead. This has the added bonus if you don't want to comply with the remote ID requirements until later in the year or next year in the USA, or maybe never elsewhere in the world, then this drone that I'm flying doesn't have remote ID. It is not telling people where I'm standing while I'm flying so they can come along and steal my phone and wallet, which is one of the problems with remote ID. Go to my Xtech channel for more on that. But anyway, this shows you what you can do with a bind and fly Cinequad, Cinewhoop, from someone other than DJI. But as I said in the video, the Avata is still a really good option for the people who are not going to be concerned about its limitations and who just want that store-bought, out-of-the-box experience that gives them the kind of footage that they want to use in their own videos and just perhaps have a little fun flying. So there you go. Thank you to all the people who requested a review of the Avata. This is as close as you're going to get. And hopefully you'll take another look at the GEP RC Cinelog 35 HD, because I have, and I'm really happy with this little quad. There are no affiliate links in my description. I don't make any money if you buy one of these, but if you're thinking of getting a Cinequad, just look a little bit beyond the DJI wrapper and see what else you can get for very similar, maybe even less money. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks to my Patreon supporters. You make it possible for me to do these things without commercial imperatives and, as you notice, without mid-roll ads. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.